Hey everybody, what's going on? Haven't seen you in a while. So I just picked up a 350 crate engine, and so I was going to check it out and put it on the run-up stand, see how she runs. And I got a buyer for this thing already. Like, I really don't need any more engines in my garage. But before I sell this thing, I always want to make sure it's going to be a good runner. There go my fingers again, sorry about that. But there's a few things I'm going to check out on this. So this is a 350 crate engine. Oh man, you can't see. It's really dark right there. I'll have to put this in the sun. But anyway, it's a 0010 block, 3970010 block, and obviously Vortec heads. I think it has a hydraulic flat tappet cam. We'll find out. It might be a roller. I don't really know. Well, there's a few things I want to check out. I noticed it right off the bat here that the looks like the factory timing pointer has been cut down, and even looks like the wrong one. This pointer is for an 8-inch balancer. This looks like a 7-inch balancer to me. I didn't take a tape measure to it, but a few things I want to do is before I run it, I want to see if there's oil in it. The dipstick hole right here is plugged off. There's silicone in there, so I have no idea how much oil is in this thing. So I'm going to pop the drain plug out. This aftermarket pan, so this is going to be a 6 or even a 7 quart pan. So as long as I have at least 5 quarts, I know we're good, because the sump sits way down here, so you can have 2 quarts in it, will run. But whatever, I want to make sure there's oil in it first, and I will have at least 5 in it just to run it. 5 or 6 quarts. Looks like somebody may have had that plug out. I'll check that. But yeah, I want to obviously pull the pump off. I'll pull the balancer off. I'm going to pull the timing cover off. I want to verify the what chain is on there. I also think I'm going to do some testing with that timing chain, because there's always huge arguments on all the automotive forums about whether timing chain should be dot to dot, or at 12 and 6, or both of them at 6 o'clock. Which way does it have to go to start the engine? And there's so many arguments. If you want to start an argument, boy, that's a good one. It'll last for days and days and days. So don't do it, trust me. But anyway, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna pull this balancer off. I'm gonna check some stuff out. I might even put a degree wheel on this cam just to see if I can find the numbers on it. Matter of fact, I'll video that too. And then I'm gonna get a timing cover. I got plenty of stock timing chain covers. I'll cut it out so we can see the timing gear, and we'll put this on the run-up stand. I'm gonna do that for a few reasons. Number one, I want to make sure this thing runs. There's no rod knocks. There's no weird noises. And then we'll put the timing chain on dot to dot. Put a distributor in, set up to number 1. See if it starts. Then we'll move them both to 12 o'clock. Set it up to number 1 and see if it runs. I already know which way is going to work, but there again, that's huge arguments on most automotive forums. It's just kind of hilarious. But anyway, I did work on this engine some time ago. I know it has roller rockers on it, and it had a standard, I think it had a high-rise single plane intake on it. Which these, by the way, these are Vortec heads. Again, these heads are, I think what you buy from Summit or maybe GM Performance, I don't really know. But they're drilled for not only the Vortec heads, but it's also drilled for a standard intake, which I don't know why they would do that. And I'll show you why when you pull the intake off. Well, if we pull the intake off, I don't know how far I'm going to go with this engine. But as most of you guys know, Vortec intake ports are narrow but tall, and intake runners on a standard set of small block Chevrolet heads are short and a little bit wider. So if you put a standard intake on Vortec heads, typically they don't seal at the top of the runner. But anyway, whatever. So yeah, that's how this engine came with that other intake. So we put this intake on it. Again, I was helping a friend work on this some time ago. but he pulled it out anyway, and here it sits. I'm gonna go through it. So that's kind of some of the plans. What else can I do here? Oh yeah, a lot of guys, you guys already know, but see this bolt right here? If you ever change your fuel pump, while the fuel pump is in here, pull this short little bolt out. It's about that long. Put in a longer one. It'll hold the fuel pump push rod in place, so that I can't even get it up. It's so slippery. But if you do that, hold the fuel pump push rod in place. Pull the old fuel pump off, put the new fuel pump on, swap the bolt out. You don't have to worry about this rod sliding down. I know a lot of guys are saying, well, just take the plate off and put grease on it. Well, when you're changing your fuel pump in the car, it's a lot faster to just pull 2 bolts out, undo the lines, put the fuel pump off, put one on, and call it a day. This don't take much longer either, but that's why GM did that. That's an open hole into the fuel pump push rod hole. Let's see, standard, obviously, since it's an 0010 block, it's a standard 2-piece rear main crank. Can't see it there because it's dark. Anyway, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna try to video as much of this as I can. I don't know if this is gonna happen today because I got stuff to do, but there you have it. Hang tight, I'll do some more. You know, one thing I want to do real quick is pop the spark plugs out and see what they look like. I already pulled the thermostat out because I already plan on putting this on a run-up stand, and I don't need that in there. I just want to run it. I got my gap. We're going to check the gap on these, just do some preliminary checks and see what's going on. Not too tight. Threads are quite oily. It's not a good sign. It could have other issues. It could have had leaky valve cover gaskets. They are quite oily. I smell some fuel, so looks like it's burning quite rich. It may have had oil in there, I don't know. It's funny, these gaps, oh, let's see. The gaps do look a little tight. Let's just see what it would look like. You know, anywhere from 35 to 45. 45 thou would probably be a good gap for this engine. I know some guys don't like this. I don't really care. Ooh, it's about 35 thou. I'm trying to look through the camera, so about 35 thou. That one looks tighter. See that? Ooh, about 32 thou. About 32 thou. Okay, let me spin this engine around a little bit. And get y'all pointed back in the right direction here. Something like that. These are a little tighter than the other side. I'm trying to put these in order too, just so we know if we have a problem with the cylinder. These are a little oily too. The threads are really dark right there. He may have just had a valve cover leak, I don't know. Let's see where we at right there. Look at that one right there. That gap looks pretty tight. Let's see where we are. that's like 27. About 28. About 28. Or no, shoot, my bad. I can't read today. 38. No. About 34. Jeez, I gotta start over. Okay. That's 30, about 32. Well, how to read today? About 33 or 4. Oh, 34. 34. All right. Let me do this again. I wasn't in frame last time. Okay, so that's 20, about 27. That one is about 34, 33, 34. About 33, 34. About 33 or 34. So, yeah, a little tighter than I like. I mean, it'll run. It's fine. I was more concerned about the amount of oil that was on the threads. So, I don't know. That could be a number of things. Okay, we'll pull the oil pan. I might pull the water pump next. I don't know. Let me see what I'm going to do here next. All right, let's pop this water pump off of here. And I'm doing this because I want to eventually pull the balancer off and pull the timing cover off. Try to do this so I get in the frame. Make sure I'm still in there. Yep. Just so you're aware, in case of emergency, if you're at the racetrack or something happens and you lose a water pump or you got to pull the water pump off real quick, you don't have to put water pump gaskets on. You can just silicone it. I mentioned that because we have had instances at the racetrack where we've had to do some quick repairs on stuff. You just pop the water pump off, no gasket, and you're good to go. That's not going to come off. Let me get something to get that off. Yeah, nothing special to see there. Oh, okay. Let me get one tool here. Okay, something I see here. Let me show y'all. Is this hole right here is a water pump bypass hole. Now you can plug these. That was an old trick that old racers used to do. You plug this, or you plug it on the water pump side, it doesn't matter. But then you'd want to drill a 1/8 hole in this thermostat, or a series of holes, maybe 2 to 4 holes, 1/8 size or so in your thermostat, so your water can bypass a little bit. Let me just see. Okay. It looks like that is purposely blocked off. Again, that's not a problem. That's more of a race car trick. If you do this to your daily driver, you just don't have a bypass. So what the bypass does is when your engine is cold and the thermostat is shut, water will still circulate. So this is supposed to help the cooling on your race car if you do it this way with holes in there. From what I read, I don't remember, it's been a long time, But I actually used to do that to mine. I plugged my water pump hole, and I used to run a 160-degree thermostat in my race car with, I think just one hole in it. It's been a long time. I just don't run a thermostat anymore. Yeah, so that's interesting. Okay, well, we're gonna pull that balancer off. So let me go gather some tools for that. Hang tight. Okay, get the right stuff. This is the puller we'll be using. Guess I should have ran this all the way down first. Yeah, it'd probably be faster if I had my electric gun, but whatever. Kind of worn out. This thing is freaking so old. Close enough. Let's do that. Grab a wrench real quick. Just want to run that in a little bit further. See, that just comes right off. I may need to stick a bar in the flex plate, or not. Looks like it's coming off. Oh yeah. There we go. I like these balancers that are marked all the way around. Makes life super easy. Okay, that's probably as far as we're going to get for a minute. I can't take the timing cover off till I drop the oil pan a little bit. Back in the day, we used to cut, the back side of this has a lip. We cut the lips down on both sides so you could unbolt this and pop the timing cover off real quick. That's when we were playing with cam timing. I doubt this timing chain cover has that. I called this a factory pointer earlier in the video, I think. Obviously it's not. It's just the words that came out. But yeah, that's interesting. That's plugged off. Okay, well, I'm gonna get some more tools and we'll drain the oil and do some stuff like that in a few minutes. Okay, well, I got the engine moved inside the garage. It's the next day because I ran out of things to do, or ran out of time actually. So I did pull the valve cover off real quick. It looks like it's got some Harlan Sharp roller rockers on there, which is pretty cool. These are Vortec heads. They are the 9906 heads. Let's see if that shows up. So kind of cool. So the plan today, when they drained oil, I could not find. I have two other oil pans. I know where one of them is. And the other one, I think, kind of walked off, but whatever. I have this one. So I'm going to pop this drain plug out, This is a clean oil pan, so I'll be able to measure how much oil is in there. Not a precise thing. I'm just going to pour it back into an empty oil jug, kind of get a guesstimate on how much oil there is. Like I say, if we got 4 or 5 quarts, because that filter is a quart right there, then I think we'll be good. So we'll pop the oil pan off, just see what's going on in there. We'll check the crank out, which if you can see that crank right there, what do you guys think? I already know what that is, but it looks to me like it's probably going to be a forged steel 350 crank, because typically the cast crank will have a notch right here. A lot of guys think that notch means it's a 400, but there's no dowel, so that's definitely a internally balanced crankshaft there. And anyway, once we get this off, we'll check that stuff out. We'll pop the timing cover off and see what it's looking like there. So I'm going to reposition y'all. I hope this is a good view, but give me 2 seconds. Okay, let's see what we got here. Hopefully I can catch this without making a huge mess. That wasn't very tight, which is fine, whatever. Looks pretty dark. It might even look metallic-y, I don't know. Interesting. Oh, I don't know if you can see this bucket in the video, but I got tired of trying to balance pans on this engine stand, so I just cut the 2 ends out of this bucket so it can be an oil pan holder. Let's see if it's going to work for us. Not right now. It's looking like we're probably going to end up with about, I bet this is 3.5, maybe 4 quarts. Let it keep draining for a second. There we go. Got some oil, or got some debris here. Let me see where we are. I do see some metal chunks. I mean, nothing big, but just flakes. I don't like to see any of that, so I'm glad we're pulling this engine apart. I don't know how far we're going to get it pulled apart, but I was hoping just to drop pans and stuff and check it, but I might need to go further. Let this drain a little bit more. I guess I'll start popping some bolts out. This oil pan has, just like every other small block Chevrolet, it's got larger bolts here and the smaller bolts here, larger back there. These are 9/16, these are 3/8. So let's just pop these big ones out. Hey, I don't want to disturb my oil pan. I'm going to leave this front one, not this front one, but this front one in for now. I'll leave that one in. Okay, I can pop the plug back in. Whoa. 125 foot-pounds right here. Yeah. Not really. We'll go measure that in a little bit. Okay. Okay, they're all out. That shouldn't just drop. It might as soon as I walk away. Whoa, someone glued that on there pretty good. I have a hanger somewhere. There's that. Oh, I found my oil pan. My green pan. Cool. I seriously thought someone walked off with it. I don't know if this is in frame. It looks like we got some silicone in there. Okay. Okay, let's see what we got here. I don't normally use red rags around engines, so here I am breaking my own rule. The lint from these, when you build a new engine, the lint from these can clog your oil pump up if you have too much debris in there. Ask me how I know. Okay, let me show you all what we got going on here. Ouch. Okay. I know it's pretty dark. I should get a light over here. I think I will. Hang tight. Let me grab a light. Okay, I got a light. And let me tell you, this light right here, this old school Snap-on light, this light has got to be almost 30 years old. And of course it's corded. But I'm surprised it still works. It's been dropped numerous times. That's why I call it the drop light. So anyway, upon first inspection here, obviously it's a 4-bolt main. It's got I-beam rods. I looked up in here. I don't know if y'all can see, but that piston, these are Lunati pistons. I can't really see what I'm looking at, but I'm trying to show you. I'll try to see if I can get a better view of that somehow. This oil pump is a Mellings M55 HV pickup. The crankshaft, we're going to roll this around and look and see if we can find a casting number on it. It's definitely been, well, yeah. I don't know. We're going to check it out. So I'm going to try to put y'all maybe back up on a stand, and we'll get the timing cover off. We're going to roll this thing around and see if we can find some more information out. Hang on just a sec. Okay. Let me see if I can turn this around so that everyone can see. See if y'all are still in frame. Close enough. Okay, let's zip that timing cover off. Don't want to do that with my hand. That's how carpal tunnel acts up. Well, someone glued that on pretty good. There we go. Okay, wow, looky there. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. It's got a double roller timing chain, and it's got one of those that you can degree it with this chain right here. Right there's the degree marks. Now whether this cam is degreed in or not, I don't know. Probably, because if someone took the time to put this chain on, hopefully they degreed it. Degreed the cam, I should say. So that's interesting. I'm kind of surprised about the stuff I see with this engine, which is really good. So I do believe this mark right here means straight up, because this is not labeled. Yeah. Well, we're going to turn that up dot to dot and see what we got. Let me put y'all back up on the stand, because I don't have a helper today. My stand is my helper. My hands are oily, so I can't get the socket off. Oh yeah, this is what I was going to show y'all. So when you install your timing chain, everybody install the dot to dot, which is fine. But how will the engine start? With the dot at 12, that dot at 12, or with the crank dot at 12 and the cam dot at 6? What do y'all think? I already know which way is correct, but this is where the argument on the internet comes in. We'll talk about that in a little while. For now, I just want to see what these dots are doing here. I want to see if this crank gear is advanced. Okay, there's a triangle, there's a square or a rectangle, and there's a circle. I don't know on this cam gear or crank gear if that's straight up or if that's 4 degrees advanced or retarded. I really don't remember. I've been using a Jesel belt drive for quite some time, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just trying to degree this cam. I don't know what this camshaft is, but I can put a degree wheel on it and run through the rotation, and we get a pretty damn good idea of lift and duration at 50, obviously. The oil pump clearly works. While I'm spinning this around, sorry I'm swinging y'all all over the place. I'm sure my fingers are going to get in the way. But I'm trying to get under here. I want to see if I can find the crank casting number. Oh, I think I can see that piston pretty good. I'm trying. Oh, okay. Looks like it's a hydraulic flat tappet cam. Can y'all see that piston right there? And it says Lunati right there. I don't know if that shows up in a video. Anyway, that's a Lunati piston, so that's kind of cool. I'll try to look into the spark plug hole and see if that's a flat top. I'm pretty sure they're flat tops, but hey, you know what? The rest of this engine has surprised me. Oh, there you go. Let me see where y'all are looking. Does that focus? That says Lunati. Pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to try to rotate this crank. I'll see if I can do it while I hold y'all so y'all can see. Oh, sorry. I'll do some editing, get some of this bouncy crap out of here. I just want y'all to see what I'm seeing here. I'm looking for a casting number. I'm also looking for other stuff that might come up here. Yell if y'all see the casting number on the crankshaft. because I got to look away when I turn it, even though the plugs are out. Okay, I know there's going to be a casting number here. Although, something else. I wonder if this has a scat crank in it. Because on those, the front of this throw right here would be labeled. Okay, I don't see anything. I'm gonna put the phone down again and look at this closer, and I'll let y'all know if I see anything. Something I do want to show you is, see the oil pump push rod, or the oil pump drive rod. Let me try to hold this light while I show you all this. This is a good drive rod right here with a metal sleeve. So there's a lot of good things about this engine I'm seeing. I thought this was a factory crankshaft, but I don't think it is now. Maybe Eagle, maybe Scat, I don't know. Let me see what I can find here. If y'all see something that I'm missing here, because I'm trying to look through the camera and keep y'all in the frame here, I might be missing stuff. But I'm gonna put the phone down. I'm gonna try to spin this around, see if I can find some more info on this crankshaft. I'm pretty sure it's a 348 stroke, because I was told this is a 350. So we already know it's a 4-inch bore block, because it's a 0010, which I didn't clean it off. Oops. But yeah, it's a 3970010. Pretty standard. A lot of guys think, oh, it's a high nickel block. Well, there's an argument all by itself. I don't play into that theory. There's reasons. But anyway, so it's a 4-inch bore block. Vortec heads. We know it has I-beam rods, Lunati pistons. I'll see if I can get to the bottom of if they're flat top or what. And I'm going to check this crank out, so I'll be right back. Hang tight. Okay, got some more info. Alright, this crankshaft is an Eagle crankshaft. Aha, it does show up. Eagle, it says 350C. Then over here, S0703408. I looked that number up, I don't see anything. So 350C, I'm going to assume this is just a 350, it's a cast crank, which is fine if this is a cast crank, because you have cast iron and you have cast steel. Factory cranks are cast iron, which is pretty cool. These are cast steel, which are stronger than cast iron, not as strong as forged, obviously. I ran a cast steel crank in my 406 for numerous years, turning at about 7,200 RPM, works just fine. I also looked up this, I could not remember these crank gear symbols. But this crank is set up on 0. And it looks like, according to what I see here, it's not going to focus, but there's A and there's R, and this is right in the middle, so whatever. But anyway, the circle is straight up. This triangle means 4 degrees advance. This rectangle or square is 4 degrees retarded. So when I turn these and line the dots up, it does come up to the circle. So the crank gear is installed straight up. It's not advanced or retarded. But they could have advanced or retarded the cam itself. But again, it doesn't matter. We might run it just to see. I don't know. I might get that far. Anyway, so I haven't seen anything weird or unusual. I did have to take the front main cap off just to check that. And that looks just fine. Whoa. It's got ARP rod or main bolts in it, so that's cool. So that's where we are for now. I'm going to think about what I'm going to do next, and I'll be right back at you with more info. Hang tight. Okay, so I got this engine spun around because we're going to do an experiment, but I did want to point something out. So just for identification purposes, just so you guys know, there's two Vortec heads. There's a 906 and a 062. The 906 you can spot real easy at the wrecking yard. If you remember in the old days, we had double humps, or they called them camelbacks or double hump heads. These are a single hump. So if you're at the wrecking yard and you see a single hump, then you know that that is a 906 head. If you see a sawtooth pattern, and you'll definitely know the sawtooth pattern, then that's the 062 head. Is one better than the other? I don't know. I don't run Vortec heads. I think they're very similar. I think it depends on who you ask. Something else I see here that I didn't point out before, this does have a cam button on it, which is pretty cool. Obviously it has the degree bushing right there, and it has a lock plate. I've seen this lock plate put on wrong a lot of times. I guess there is kind of a right and a wrong way. In this case, you can't do it wrong because there's a hole right here. Ooh, it actually moved. Usually you got your cam pin right here, and so there'll be a little hole. You make sure that hole is lined up with that. In this case, it don't matter. And you only need to fold one ear over. It just keeps the bolts from backing out. You can fold both of them over, not a big deal, but you only need one. So what we're going to do here, and I'm going to put this on a run-up stand too eventually, and we'll prove this fact. But like I said, if you want to start an argument on the internet, do this. Ask them which way to put the timing chain on to make the engine start on the first try. Let me move this stuff out of the way. So the crank gear, obviously there's the dot right there. I think it shows up okay, I don't know. I actually should mark that. Hang on, I'm gonna mark that real quick. Okay, I marked that. So the crank gear is always gonna be at 12 o'clock. It has to be at 12 o'clock for the piston. Number 1 and number 6 piston will be at TDC. And that's the big argument on the internet. You have to put the dot to dot for it to be at TDC for an engine to start. Well, correct. You're at TDC 2 times, actually. Well, 1 time. 1 full revolution, obviously, is half a revolution for the camshaft. So, let's see what happens. We know there's 4 strokes to an engine, which is intake, compression, power, exhaust. Dot to dot is the exhaust stroke. So if you put your dots dot to dot, you drop your distributor in right on number 1, your engine's not going to start, I can promise you. So let's see, let's watch these rockers move while I turn this. So let me figure out where to position y'all. Hang tight. Okay, here we go. Whoops, I bumped you. All right, right now the dots are both at 12 o'clock, but watch these rockers right here. This one is going to start to open. Watch. We're going to put the dots dot to dot, and I'll show you that as soon as I get them there. The exhaust valve is starting to move. I keep rotating this around until the dots are lined up dot to dot. Okay, let me show you what I got. So you saw the exhaust valve clearly open and close, and we are dot to dot. So yes, it's a good idea to install your timing chain this way. Obviously it's easier to make sure the dots are lined up and you're not off a tooth, and your cam pin will always be at about the 3 o'clock position, 3 to 4 o'clock, something like that. So if you're dot to dot, your cam pin is at 3 o'clock, you are on the exhaust stroke. Yes, I know it's at TDC. That's the big argument. Everybody's, well, but you got to put it at TDC. Correct. But there's 2 TDCs. There's top dead center on the exhaust stroke, top dead center on the compression stroke. The piston is at the top of the bore. That's top dead center. So you're 180 out. So yes, install your timing chain this way, again, because it's easy to line up. And then put your timing chain cover on. Forget all about it. Don't even think about it. A lot of guys try to memorize where the dots are, then they drop their distributor in and wonder why the engine doesn't start. You can always do that later. So now then we're going to turn this to where both dots are at 12 o'clock. So you'll watch the intake valve open and close. So keep your eye on that, which I labeled these. Sorry, my hands are getting in the way, but intake exhaust. I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way, but it's kind of hard to do. Okay, I'm going to put both dots at 12 o'clock now. Watch that, watch the intake valve. Open, close, and we're coming up on 12 and 6. Boom, right there. Now then, oh sorry. Now then, dots at 12 and 12. I think I said 12 and 6 a minute ago. That is top dead center compression. And you'll notice your cam pin is on the left side now. It's about 9 o'clock. So I know there's all these guys on the internet that can argue and tell me I'm wrong and I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about. And their timing chain is different. Their timing chain, they put it dot to dot and it starts every time. Well, you must have a timing chain made in China or something, because a normal timing chain, dot to dot, your cam pin is at 3 o'clock. When it's at 12 and 12, the cam pin is at 9 o'clock. This is TDC. You watch the intake valve clearly open and close. So after the intake stroke, compression is next. You can't change that. That's just how it is. It's ground into the camshaft. So yeah, that's a huge argument on the interwebs. Every automotive forum I go to, and people show a picture of this, right off the bat, people are going to say, oh, your engine will never start. It has to be dot to dot. Really? Let's put it at dot to dot again. I'm going to try to hold it and put you out here. Watch this rocker here. This is the exhaust rocker. Watch that rocker open and close while I move this. So there's no trickery going on. Exhaust valve is opening. And it closed. And we're coming up on dot to dot. Dot to dot. That is the exhaust stroke. I don't care. You can argue with me all day long if you want. You can go ahead and memorize where those dots are all you want. Put your distributor in. Notice that's at 3 o'clock. That won't start. You're 180 out. Now if you put your distributor in pointed at number 6, yeah, you're on top dead center compression stroke on number 6 right now. But you're on the exhaust stroke on number 1. So just to prove that out, again, for the people who still don't believe that, I'm going to put this on a run-up stand here soon, because I do want to run it, make sure it runs good. I've done some preliminary checks here already. I think I'm okay with what I see so far. I just want to put a carb on it, distributor, and I want to make sure it runs and sounds good. And like I said, I got a buyer for it, so I don't want to sell him something that doesn't run or doesn't work or has a rod knock, so that's not cool. So that's where we are. I'm going to post up a video of the run-up stand soon. I might even degree this cam in. I'm trying to look this engine up to see if it'll give me an idea of what cam is in here. I don't know. It's got some racy stuff to it. I mean, it's got Lunati pistons. I'm going to assume they're flat top. It's got Vortec heads. It's got Harley shop rockers, which I don't think these came with the engine. I think someone put these on. The same thing with this timing chain. I don't know if this engine would have came with this timing chain. Maybe it did. I don't know, but it's got some performance features to it, so maybe someone changed the cam too. I don't know. But that's what I got. And like I say, hopefully we can settle some arguments instead of creating arguments. But like I said, people want to argue about that all the time. I don't know why. So there's that. And I will get a new video uploaded soon with this thing on the run-up stand. So stand by for that. Thanks for watching.